Are your business goals constantly falling by the wayside? Do you set ambitious plans only to watch them fizzle out a few weeks later? The problem might not be a lack of willpower. It could be a missing piece that's critical to staying on track with goals: accountability. In this episode, we're talking about the power of accountability and how it can transform your business goals from someday dreams into done and dusted achievements. I'll walk you through 3 types of accountability, plus I'll share practical strategies to implement them into your own business life. You're listening to the Productive Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Tonia Kendrick, and I'm on a mission to help online business owners like you focus on the right things and take imperfect action. Every week, you'll get my best tips on everything from time management and content creation to planning effectively and managing mindset issues, all in an effort to help you become more productive. So let's jump into this episode. So what exactly do I mean by accountability? It's not about having someone breathing down your neck or making you feel guilty. Think of it more like having a business bestie who's genuinely invested in your success. When you work from home, it's way too easy to let things slide. There's no boss checking in, no coworkers to bounce ideas off of, and let's be honest, sometimes the laundry seems way more urgent than that important project you've been putting off. That's where accountability comes in. It's like creating your own support system that keeps you moving forward. Here's the cool thing about accountability. Research shows that sharing your goals with someone else increases your chance of achieving them by up to 65%. But when you add in regular check-ins, that number shoots up to 95%. Pretty wild, right? Those stats come from the Association for Financial Counseling and Planning Education, and I'll include a link to the article in the show notes. But there's more to it than just the numbers. When you have accountability, you're tapping into some powerful psychological triggers. First, there's the commitment principle. Once we say we're going to do something out loud to another person, we're much more likely to follow through. It's like when you tell a friend you'll meet them at the gym at 6 a.m. You might hit snooze if it was just you, but knowing that they're waiting, you'll drag yourself out of bed. Then there's the progress principle. Regular check-ins help you see how far you've come, which is incredibly motivating. It's like having a Fitbit for your business goals. Those small wins add up, and having someone there to celebrate them with you makes them even sweeter. So let's break down the 3 main types of accountability that I've seen work magic for solo business owners. First up, personal accountability. This is where you're making promises to yourself and actually keeping them. Maybe it's setting a power hour every morning for your most important task, or treating yourself to your favorite coffee shop work session when you hit a milestone. The key here is creating systems that work for your personality. Some of my students love using habit tracking apps, while others swear by good old-fashioned to-do lists where they can physically check off tasks. I lean in heavily to personal accountability because it suits my personality and, frankly, I'm good at it. I create lots of systems to support my personal accountability. My favorite one is my scorecard system. It's a 90-day scorecard, monthly scorecard, and weekly scorecard broken down by day. I give myself an objective score of 1 to 10 based on how I'm doing toward my goals. For example, I'm recording this episode on a Friday, and I can tell you that I'm on track to hit a 10 this week. I have a whole lesson about my scorecard system in my 90-day planning bootcamp, by the way, and I'll drop a link to it in the show notes. The next type of accountability is peer accountability. It's finding another business owner to check in with regularly. Someone who won't buy your excuses, but will absolutely celebrate your wins. I used to have an accountability partner where we met up every morning by video chat, shared our goals for the day, and checked in on progress. No judgment, just support. Here's what makes peer accountability so powerful. You're working with someone who understands your challenges. They know what it's like to juggle all the hats in your business. When I told my accountability partner I was procrastinating on work by doing stuff around the house, she'd get it because she'd been there. My accountability club program is a form of peer accountability. It's a small group of people who check in daily. And finally, there's professional accountability. This might mean joining a mastermind group or hiring a coach. The key difference here is having structured support and expert guidance. In my experience, professional accountability works best when you need specialized expertise along with your accountability. For example, back when I did coaching, I worked with people who needed help with specific projects like creating a social media strategy or a content plan. I helped them stay on track with their goals, and I was also there to answer questions and point out potential pitfalls. So, which type of accountability resonates most with you? Really think about it. Which one would work best for your personality and working style? Now let's get practical about making accountability work for you. First up, finding the right accountability partner or group. Here's what to look for. Someone who's at a similar stage in business or slightly ahead of you. A person who will be honest with you. Someone who's reliable and shows up consistently. And a partner whose communication style matches yours. If you're hooking up with another person to be an accountability partner, have a clarity conversation before you commit to set expectations. Here are some points to cover in that initial conversation. How often you'll check in, the preferred communication method, text, video, email, what kind of feedback you both want, how you'll handle missed deadlines or commitments, and what success looks like for both of you. When it comes to setting goals with your accountability partner, here's my favorite framework. Make them specific and measurable. None of this work on my website vagueness. Set clear deadlines. I like breaking things down into weekly chunks. And define what done looks like. Let me give you a real example. Instead of work on my course, my goal might be complete lesson outlines by Friday, including objectives and main teaching points. See how much clearer that is? Another tool I used to use with my coaching clients was the weekly win sheet. It was a simple document where you track your main goal for the week, 3 actions that will move you toward that goal, any potential obstacles and how you'll handle them, and your reward for hitting the goal. And here's a pro tip. Start small, maybe 1 goal with weekly check-ins. You can always scale up as you build your accountability muscle. Okay, now let's talk about the elephant in the room. What happens when things go wrong? Because they will, and that is totally normal. One of the biggest challenges you may face is fear of judgment. You might be worried that if you don't hit your goals, your accountability partner will think less of you. But what typically happens is that you'll find out your partner has struggled with similar issues. And then you'll feel better because you'll know that you're not the only one. And you can also turn that situation into a brainstorming session that helps you both. Common roadblocks you might hit include inconsistency with check-ins, setting unrealistic goals, not being honest about progress, losing momentum after the initial excitement wears off, feeling shame when you fall behind, and making excuses instead of asking for help. The key is honest communication. If something's not working, speak up. Your accountability system should evolve as you do. Here's what I recommend when you hit a rough patch. Acknowledge it quickly. Don't ghost your accountability partner. Get specific about what's not working. Adjust your approach. Maybe you need more frequent check-ins, or maybe you need to break your goals down into smaller chunks. And remember that progress isn't linear. I had a client once who kept setting massive goals and then feeling defeated when she couldn't meet them. I suggested that she switch to a minimum viable progress approach. What's the smallest step you can take today? Suddenly, everything shifted. She started celebrating small wins instead of beating herself up about not doing enough. I talk more about minimum viable actions in episode 29, by the way. I'll drop a link to that in the show notes. All right, let's wrap this up with some action steps you can take right now. Decide which type of accountability feels right for you, personal, peer, or professional. Then take one step towards incorporating accountability into your life. That might be researching mastermind groups, reaching out to a potential accountability partner, or setting up a scorecard or weekly wins document if personal accountability is more your speed. And hey, if you're loving the idea of small group accountability, I've got you covered. My Accountability Club membership program might be exactly what you need. We've got daily and weekly check-ins and a supportive community without a huge time commitment on your part. I'll include a link in the show notes. I'll be back tomorrow with how to use profit first in your small business. Until then, keep taking action. And before you go, if you like what you hear on the Productive Entrepreneur podcast, then come check out the Organized Business Toolbox. It's my monthly membership for solo entrepreneurs who want to feel in control and take imperfect action to move their businesses forward. When you join, you'll get instant access to the Training and Resource Vault, and a new toolbox or course drops every month. Plus, we have monthly Voxer office hours where you can privately ask me questions and get my direct feedback. If that sounds like something you need, the link is in the show notes, or visit ToniaKendrick.com, and I'll see you on the inside.